Hi, it's Kennae, and I'm back for this session where we're talking about props. And in this session, I specifically want to speak about a yoga mat. So again, in the practice of yoga, and when I say yoga, I'm specifically speaking of the limb of yoga in this moment, asana. Asana in Sanskrit means the seat of, which is what the postures are. You're finding a seat within the posture. What modern folks know yoga to be, or describe yoga to be, is actually what asana is, which is the movement, the shapes, the postures. And so stay informed that whenever I am saying yoga, I'm using yoga and asana interchangeably, but I am preferring to really mention or speak to asana because yoga really is all encompassing. It's more than what happens when you move your body into different shapes on the mat. With that being said, here is my personal yoga mat. I, as a yogi, I have been practicing for a little over 20 years. I began my practice in high school. And at the time, I did not have a yoga mat, but my mom did. And so I remember purchasing it for her as a gift from a store. And it was considered a yoga mat by Nike. It came with a strap, it came with blocks. So everything that I thought I would need or she would need to begin a practice was already put together as a kit for her. Now, some people still have those available. There are many places that sell them. But also, I love that you can also choose to purchase the items that you need or that work for you within your practice. Not everyone is going to want or need a strap or a block. And so I love the accessibility of just taking what it is that you need. I also want to be very clear that in the practice of yoga, its entirety, the movement part, the asana, does not require you to have a yoga mat. You can use the floor, you can use the earth, you can use the ground, you can use a grass mat. You can use whatever is available and accessible to you. So don't feel like you have to run out and purchase things. Now, specifically for me, and this is strictly my opinion and my experience. In the 20 plus years that I have been practicing yoga, even though I still have that beginner's mat, more for nostalgia purposes, I have noticed for me that a thicker mat actually feels better. So this particular mat that I use, as you can see, it's rather thick in nature. It's not gonna slide. This is meant to be a non-sliding mat. It's also meant to not only not slide against the floor surface that it's on, but it's supposed to also be non-slippery when I place it down for my practice. My mat is rather long, so again, it's thick all the way through. And so it provides really good cushion, not only underneath me, but if I were to do a lot of things on the knees, it provides some decent padding. And that's why I like to go for a thicker mat. I noticed the thinner mats, although they are a little more easy to fold up or roll up to move into different places or spaces, especially when you're traveling, they're also not exactly the most comfortable when you go back to practice because they are very thin, and especially if you have issues with the joints, it doesn't provide a lot of cushioning. So I'm gonna share with you now how I begin to set my mat up in a space, okay? Make sure you have a flat surface when you begin to roll out your yoga mat, that nothing is underneath it and it's able to be flat, whether it's on the earth, ground, or carpet underneath you. As you'll notice here, I hopped onto my mat to demonstrate that it's nice and stable. It's not sliding underneath me, no matter what my movement is, and even if I'm moving fast or hopping or stepping back. You'll notice here, I'm able to demonstrate on my mat. It has plenty of space to move as I begin to move with my body, moving in different directions, whether stepping the feet apart, stepping back for a plank, or a downward facing dog. The mat does not shift underneath me. And this is one of the reasons I absolutely love having and practicing with a thicker yoga mat. Remember, practicing yoga with a yoga mat is optional. It's not a requirement. Make sure the practice is accessible to you, whether that's on the earth, the ground, or even carpet.